Hey team, so how to not hit the wall is a very commonly asked question, and I can tell you from my own background, I've experienced hitting the wall, but I can also tell you the good news is that you do not have to deal with that in the marathon if you train correctly. Okay, this is why I always preach, don't run long, slow, and easy every weekend during your training, okay? Hitting the wall, there's a lot of reasons why we hit the wall in the marathon or these longer races. One of the key reasons is we're running way too anaerobic too early in the race. We're trying to do too much, get too hyped up, run someone else's race, and we run too aggressive too early, okay? And that causes a great deal of pain and struggle for a lot of athletes. So if you can practice running a negative split, running a little bit more conservative in the early stages of your marathon or your 10K, half marathon, even if you're running a 5K, don't go out at 1 mile to 3K, your 1 mile to 3K race pace in the first mile of that race, or the first 1.6 kilometers of the race. It's so important not to run someone else's race, run your race, stay conservative, get out. You can practically run 200 meters all out when the gun goes off and not build up any lactic acid. So it is important to get out, but to settle into your pace and not get too hyped up so that you end up hitting the wall, okay? When I ran 2:19 for the marathon, I didn't really start hurting in that race. And this is the honest truth. I did not start really hurting bad in that race until mile 23. Okay, I had tapered down correctly. I had done several months of 100 plus miles a week. I tapered correctly. I did a 10-day taper going into the race. But the major differences between when I first started running marathons and hitting the walls quite often was, one, I was not prepared to run as fast as I was running in the first half of those marathons in the early times of running marathons. I started running marathons in 2002, and really from 2002 until 2007 when I really started to learn how to train properly for a marathon and not experience hitting a wall. That's when I started to run faster times and not hit a wall. Even in my second fastest marathon, the 2011 Monumental Indianapolis Marathon, I finished in 5th place in 2:26:42, including a bathroom break. I was running with the leaders in the race, had to jump in a porta-john at mile 17, lost probably 2 to 3 minutes off that finish time, but I didn't hit a wall in that race either. And even when I ran 2:19, I went out the first half in 1:07:09, which is only 3 seconds slower than my PR for the half marathon, which is 1:07:06. So again, if you've done your homework and training, you've trained significantly faster than your goal race pace that you're aiming to hit, and you've stayed consistent, you've been patient with your training, and you've hydrated correctly in the race, and you've practiced drinking in training and practiced taking in more fluids, finding out how much fluid and calories your body can ingest and handle in training, so that when you get to the race, you're not making the mistake of not taking in enough fluid, not taking in enough calories, not taking in enough gels. That is another reason why we hit the wall as well. Okay, again, one of the biggest reasons is obviously we run way too fast too early. We go way too anaerobic, and we're forced to slow down dramatically, or at times drop out of the race. And it does happen, and it doesn't just happen to local athletes, regional class athletes, national class, but even elite athletes, world record holders. That happens to everybody. So don't beat yourself up if you've dealt with that in the past and you think that it's going to continue to happen in the future. It's not. Just stay consistent with what you're doing. Start paying much closer attention to your pacing and your energy expenditure in the race, okay? If you're running a marathon, or you're running a half marathon or a 10-mile race, don't race like it's a 5K or a 10K. Okay, it is, like I said, you can get out hard the first 200 meters and then settle into your pace and focus on running at your goal race pace, not 30 to 40 seconds faster per mile or 30 to 40 seconds per kilometer faster than your goal race pace, because you're going to blow up. Okay, running your race is absolutely essential in terms of not hitting a wall, and practicing and practicing running dramatically at faster paces in training so that you get that goal race pace that you're aiming for to feel easier for you. And it's not an easy process. You're going to have times, you're going to have doubts, you're going to have times where you question yourself. You're going to have times where you think that you feel like giving up, and you feel like you just don't have what it takes to run the type of time you're thinking about. Okay, we have three choices in this life. We have a focus. We can average, we can be good, or we can be great. And when it comes to greatness in this sport, and to go after a fast track and field time, or a fast 5K or 10K time on the roads, or a fast 10 miler or a half marathon or marathon, there is going to be much more required out of you. And to not hit the wall, in terms of how to not hit the wall, paying attention to the little details, paying attention to, am I taking in, am I hydrating well before, during, and after my workouts? Am I getting enough sleep? Am I stressing over my workouts or my races? Did those past few bad workouts or past few bad races, am I overthinking and overanalyzing those efforts? You can't change anything about the past. All you can focus on now is where are the leaks in my training, and what do I need to do in order to not continue to make the same mistakes that I've made in the past with my training and in my racing. Have I went out way too fast in the past and blew up and hit the wall? Is that the reason? Can I adjust how much fluid I'm ingesting in the race? That might be a major reason why you're hitting the wall. Obviously, if you're a hot weather runner, running in cold weather might be place an enormous amount of stress on you, and you just may not be performing. You may not be as great of a performer in colder weather. If you're more of a cold weather runner, such as myself, you want to make sure you're finding races that are in cooler times of the year, fall, winter. That's the type of time of the year that I raced at. I did not try to run marathons or 10-mile races in the heat. Okay, it's still good to run a 5K and to do some track workouts and to do some time trials and training that's going to test your limits in the heat. But to set yourself up for success, find a race that's flat, that will give you the best chance of running a fast time, provided you've done your homework and training. Because again, there is no such thing as a fast course. It's the athlete that's in phenomenal shape that makes that course fast. Okay, there's plenty of athletes out there that can go out and run on a flat course like Chicago, but if they haven't done their homework and training, they're going to hit the wall. They're going to run the first half marathon, at goal pace, and then just slowly, get slower as the race goes on. Because again, they went way too anaerobic too early. Maybe they weren't drinking enough. Maybe they didn't get enough sleep the week of the race. There's so many factors that go into hitting the wall. But if you can correct these little flaws, you can correct these leaks in your training, the likelihood of you hitting the wall is that much lower. Okay, those are the tactics that I used to not experience hitting a wall when I ran 2:19. Again, I did not start hurting, and I hurt bad in that race, in that last 5 kilometers of the race. Okay, I was really just energized. I was really well prepared. I didn't go too anaerobic in the race too early. I was definitely ready to take some risks, and I was still at 5:11 mile pace through the 20-mile mark, which I hit in 1 hour 44 minutes and 5 seconds, and that's still my record to this day for 20 miles, 5:11 mile pace. But it was that last 5 kilometers that I was just really struggling to get through. But the best advice I can give you to not hit the wall, and especially in these longer races, make sure you're taking in those gels, because that's an immediate 100 to 150 calories that goes in your bloodstream. Take some water with it. Try to grab a couple Dixie cups and ingest the gel with some water. Again, ingest those. Make sure that you put a gel on your left and a gel on your right side of your shorts. They use these bigger races. Usually in the marathon, it's usually about mile 17 or 18. Sometimes they hand out the gels around mile 7 or 8 in the half marathon events. Ingest those gels. Do not pass the aid stations. That's kind of where I'm. Those are some strategies and tactics I want you thinking about and I answer the question of how to not hit the wall. If you have any other questions regarding this topic, or you have another topic you want me to cover in my next video, leave those in the comment section below. I will definitely reach back out and respond to each and every one of you who take the time to respond to any of my videos. Definitely check out the resources below these videos as well. They're definitely there to help take you to the next level. In the coming weeks, there is a brand new RunDreamAchieve.com website that you're going to see. It's phenomenal. It's taken the current website to a whole new level. You guys and gals are going to love it. And I'll definitely announce that as well in those of you that are on my newsletter as well. So I wish you guys and gals the very best in your training. I hope this was helpful in ensuring that you don't hit the wall yourself. Again, you do not have to hit the wall, but you do have to follow the strategies that will minimize the likelihood that you will hit the wall, okay? Because it's very easy to hit it, and there's things that you can definitely do, which I've discussed here, some things definitely to consider that will make sure that you do not have to experience that in your next race.